PFL is in its last semi-final fight card. And after this, we're going straight to the finals. But August 23rd, we have the featherweights and welterweights semi-finals. Like last video of our predictions in the semi-final PFL bouts, there is a full main card, but I'm only going to be covering the actual semi-final tournament qualifiers. In our first semi-final fight, we have a clash at welterweight, a rematch, and one that doesn't make sense at all. We have Musaev going up against Ranazanov again. Musaev has been pretty much the dark horse this whole tournament, just back-to-back 2 fights, delivering massive brutal knockouts. An incredibly strong guy, obviously a heavy puncher, destroying Ranazanov in their last fight, catching him with a left hook, and I mean just snapping his head back. When people talk about bang, dead, this looked like a headshot. It was no competition. Musaev went in there, Ranazanov exchanged with him, and just got his, pretty much literally almost got his head ripped out of his shoulders. And the fight before, Ranazanov against Logan Storley also brutally KO'd him. I mean, this guy is delivering the goods. Now, Ranazanov, despite his loss, I do think he's a great competitor. He had a win, a pretty easy dominant win over Staropoulos, I believe that's his name. But I mean, I can't look past the fact that all I think of Ranazanov when I hear Ranazanov is how his head just disgustingly just snapped back and he fell like he got shot with a 12 gauge at point blank. Now, I believe with a brutal loss like that, Ramazanov's goal here is going to be to wrestle. Maybe exchange a little bit and wrestle, but he definitely doesn't want to suffer what he just suffered a fight ago. While Musaev, although he has impressive KOs over decent competition, I see him very flat-footed. I see him very tankish, not very flexible, not very snappy. He's just a strong guy with an incredible punch. With that being said, man, I still think Ranazanov can pull this off if he starts wrestling and being able to implement his game plan, not get caught up with exchanges, because we definitely don't want him to get decapitated a second time. With that said, it's kind of hard to go against Musaev. Musaev is just on a roll. People can't deal with his power. The guy's gonna pull it off again. Alrighty, second semi-final bout, and the one I'm interested in the most. We have a featherweight bout, a featherweight clash between Braga versus Khizriev. Now, coming into this tournament, Braga probably has the most interesting story of all. With the loss of his father, unfortunately, it has brought a fire, it has lit a fire underneath him, and this guy's coming in extremely tenacious, and he's coming in to hurt. I love that he does come forward, he walks forward, and he looks for the knockout. You always gotta love fighters like that just kind of bite down their mouthpiece. They're not coming in just chin down, you know, biting down on their mouthpiece, going in there ignorantly. No, the guy has technique. He stalks you down and he looks for openings, and when he throws, he throws. In a lot of ways, I think the whole MMA community that is invested in this tournament, we're kind of rooting for him. However, unfortunately, he's going up against Khizriev. Khizriev is coming in with a lot of experience, Bellator talent that went over to Rizin when it was Bellator versus Rizin. And I mean, this guy always looks good. He looks like a sharpshooter when he throws his 1-2s, although it's not as often. He's one of those rushers that just throws 1-2s. They're fast, explosive, and they're down the pipe. And not just that, but he also has decent kicks. He throws head kicks when he needs to. He throws body kicks, leg kicks, you name it. I mean, the guy is actually fucking good. He's really, really good. What I see is a fight where maybe Braga will push forward, as he always does. But I'm seeing a Justin Gonzalez fight all over again. However, unlike Justin Gonzalez, Khizriev actually hits. He's more of a sharpshooter, and when he lands, he has more power, man. He's probably just gonna circle, maybe walk forward, maybe walk, a couple times. I can definitely see him backpedaling. And as Braga just kind of Terminator-like stalks forward, he's just going to keep eating those 1-2s. If it comes down to wrestling, I think Khizriev has the advantage. I think Khizriev stops this guy's journey. Winner by unanimous decision and advances to the finals. And quite honestly, I think Khizriev is already the winner. It's very obvious that his talent surpasses all the competition right now at featherweight. Third semi-final bout. We go to welterweight and we have a fight between Umalatov and Gracie. If there's a fight matchup that I'm dreading a lot, it's this one. I feel like this was going to put a lot of people to sleep. But besides the point, let's talk about their talents. I don't know what Umalatov is going to do. Beating Khizriev and Brennan Ward, the guy's a powerhouse of a wrestler. Extremely strong, extremely powerful, looking to smother you and to control you. Gracie, on the other hand, I mean, he puts people to sleep. Hence his last name. Of course, he's a ground fighter. Prefers the jiu-jitsu and the scrambling and trying to go for submissions. But this guy is a boring Gracie. I think he's won his fights via decision. And I mean, I think even his fight with Yamauchi, I mean, that was terrible. Absolutely terrible. We got a blown up 155 pounder coming up to welterweight. I think even Yamauchi even fought at 145s. And Gracie still couldn't impose his will, still couldn't impose his size, and couldn't even get a finish. I don't even think once Yamauchi came into trouble. But that's because of Gracie's fighting style. He's just a very tentative, very careful, boring fighter. Look, given the fact that he struggled to even put Yamauchi in any kind of danger, I just don't see what Gracie's gonna do. Umalatov, on the other hand, I don't see much of a killer instinct. I mean, he finished Brennan Ward, and even in my prediction video for that, I did predict he was gonna finish Brennan Ward, but that's because Brennan Ward puts himself in positions to make a fight happen, so to speak, right? He goes in there, swings, he will go for the takedown, he makes it happen, whether if he loses or not. So I figured that Brennan Ward's gonna put himself in a position to lose, to get finished. But other than that, I mean, I don't see Umalatov with that killer instinct like I mentioned. So you put those things together, those two styles together, we're gonna see Umalatov pretty much just take him down, hold him. Gracie is a Gracie, so he's gonna be good enough to at least keep himself from getting submitted or pounded out. But there you go. 3-4 rounds of Umalatov being a human blanket. Umalatov by decision. Lastly, we have the main event and the last semi-final for the featherweights. We have Loughnane once again in the main event against Kamaka. Brendan Loughnane is quickly turning into PFL's next star, and I even feel like they really promote him and push him a lot. Granted, it's warranted. The guy is definitely delivering as well with stoppages and just clean striking. I mean, his cross right now and the timing of it, it's the timing of his cross that's extremely good. It's something I don't really even see much in the UFC. Loughnane is definitely a very talented striker with his timing. I mean, the knee that he landed on Justin Gonzalez, Jesus Lord, that was beautiful. And I think that the timing is due to high IQ. When I see Brendan Loughnane, he looks for your weaknesses and he exposes them. Not just exposes them, but he imposes himself. Look what he did to Moraes. Just ate him up with kicks. And then you saw a different type of striker, right? Against Carvalho, where he just sniped him down with a cross. And then with Justin Gonzalez, knowing that he's a wrestler, that he likes to throw combinations and go for the takedown, throws like a 3-punch combination, goes for another takedown. He has his levels very low, so he can go for the takedown. And he timed a beautiful knee that, one of the most disgusting forehead gashes I've ever seen in combat sports, period. And unlike the previous bout we just talked about, they put him up against Kamaka. What an exciting matchup of strikers this is going to be. If you guys are going to tune in for this main event. It's going to be fireworks. It's going to be fun. Both gentlemen are going to exchange and land bombs. What I do love about Kamaka is that he's one of those fighters that has a never say die attitude when he's in the cage. Even in his UFC bouts, going into the PFL, this guy comes to throw heavy. He's an exciting Hawaiian that steps forward, throws knees, throws heavy punches, and he's looking to stop. He's looking to make a highlight reel, and he's extremely technical. So it's not like a sloppy brawler. He's composed, walks forward, but when he throws, you better watch out. What I don't like about Kamaka is that if you see all his fights, including the Bubba Jenkins fight, he fought Bubba Jenkins, who's a tiny little featherweight. I mean, he's a tank of a featherweight, but he just walks blindly forward, flat-footed, you name it, right? So Kamaka was able to get past him. But in some of his UFC fights, especially against Tony Keller, I believe, you see the Kamaka that I'm talking about, but the guy gasses out. This is where I think Loughnane has the advantage. Not only can he pick and choose when to counter with his sharpshooter of a left hand, but I think he can outlast Kamaka. I think the fight's going to consist of Kamaka kind of walking forward, Loughnane waiting to pick and choose his punches, and he punches hard enough to hurt, okay? So I think he is going to sting Kamaka a couple times. Will we see a finish? I don't know. But I do see Loughnane winning. I see him winning a decision. Kamaka's a little too tough to get, easily put away. But I see how Loughnane can outlast him and outstrike him with the better, more precise time striking throughout all 3 rounds, all 5 rounds. On a side note, I do want to talk about one thing, and that's that my heart goes out for Kamaka. That I hope Kai Kamaka wins the tournament. Reason being, with so many people out there, with some of these MMA fans who are not MMA fans, they're UFC fans, it has really brought the misconception that if you're not in the UFC, you're not gonna make it. With that said, I want to see another story of a Sean O'Connell. I want to see another story of the Impa Kasanganese. I want Kai Kamaka to win, to bring more light and eyeballs that yes, there is a pretty decent earning and living outside of just being under the UFC promotion. Despite the 3 names that I just mentioned, that I know that there's always the trolls and the haters are gonna say, there are nobody's in the UFC, PFL's the B leagues. That's besides the point. The point is that you can make a career outside of the UFC. And just to finish this video, it's wartime, Kamaka. Get it done.